Hello and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something we all chase, success. But we're looking at it from a completely different angle. Not the struggle to get there, but the hidden danger of what happens after. It turns out the very moment you think you're safest, well, that might be when you're most at risk.
Imagine you just beat the final boss in a video game, and this message pops up. Congratulations, you've cleared the level, but this is the prologue. That's the exact feeling we're exploring. That moment of perfect success that feels like an ending, but is actually a brand new start with a whole new set of rules. So you did it. You landed the dream job, you finished that massive project, you hit your personal goal. You've succeeded. But what's the hidden challenge that nobody talks about? It's a question that, believe it or not, ancient wisdom has a really profound answer for. Because that perfect moment, that feeling of mission accomplished, it actually holds this unexpected weakness. It's a moment of real peril that we often just don't see coming because, hey, we're too busy celebrating the win.
To really get our heads around this, we're going to turn to a seriously old text, the I Ching, or the Book of Changes. We're zooming in on one of its 64 hexagrams, a little symbol called GG, and it's basically our guide for navigating these tricky waters of success.
So what is GG? Well, the name literally means something like already across or completion. It represents that exact moment we're talking about. When a goal is met, everything clicks, and all the moving parts are in the state of perfect, harmonious balance. But you see that crucial word there? Temporary. That's the whole ballgame. The whole idea of Jingyi is built on this image of two opposing forces, water and fire. Now, when they're in balance, they can be super productive. Fire boils water to cook things. But that balance is incredibly fragile. The water could put out the fire at any second. And the fire is constantly threatening to just boil all the water away. It's this state of perfect function that is always one tiny step away from complete chaos. And this brings us right to the core warning of the GG hexagram. It predicts initial success, which sounds great, but right after that comes this really stark warning, chaos in the end if you're not careful. This tells us that the biggest risk isn't on the climb up, it's on the plateau at the top. So why is this moment of success so risky? Well, the wisdom of GG doesn't just leave us with a warning. It actually breaks the whole experience down into 6 distinct phases, and it reveals a hidden pitfall at every single step of the way. Take a look at this. It's basically a roadmap for what comes after you win. And you can see that at every single stage, from the very beginning to the absolute peak, there's a hidden risk. For example, right at the start, the danger is getting cocky and rushing into the next thing. But then later, when you're at the very top, the risk completely changes. It becomes arrogance. The big lesson here is that you have to stay awake. You have to be vigilant at every single step. Okay, so knowing the risks is one thing, but how do we actually guard our balance? Let's shift gears from the philosophical to the super practical. Here's the toolkit to help you stay afloat right after that big achievement. All right, here's your post-success checklist. First thing you need to burn into your brain. Your risk is at its absolute highest right after you win. So you have to become a proactive problem finder. You got to constantly check for those little weaknesses before they turn into big ones. This means focusing on real value, not just how things look on the surface, and keeping things stable even as you start planning your next move. And for those of you who like a more hands-on approach, the source material offers this really simple but powerful balancing ritual. You just place a lit candle, that's your fire, next to a glass of water. You look at them and you visualize them in balance, not fighting, but just reflecting each other. You say a little affirmation like, I hold my balance and create space for what's next. And then you blow out the candle and take a small sip of the water. It's a beautiful, simple way to really ground yourself after a victory. So all of this is building to a really powerful shift in perspective. It's asking us to stop seeing success as some final destination, a place where we can finally just relax and put our feet up. And that leads us to the fundamental takeaway from all of this. Keeping your balance is often way harder than achieving it in the first place. The climb to the top, sure, that takes effort, but staying there, that requires a totally different skill set, wisdom and vigilance. I just love this final quote from the source. Completion is a transition visa, not permanent residency. Doesn't that just nail it? It perfectly captures the whole idea. Your success gets you to a new place, but it doesn't guarantee you can stay there. It's really just a permit to transition to the next phase of your journey. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Think about your last big success. Was that the end of the road, or did the real challenge just begin? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.